Hi Capricorn, welcome to your week ahead taroscope with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, my readings are for your sun, moon and ascendant sign. So whether you're a sun, moon or rising sign Capricorn, this is for you. And I always advise that you watch all three to get a clearer, more complete picture of how they're going to speak to you. With that said, remember they are general readings. Not everything's going to resonate with everybody, and that is just fine. You should always use your own discernment. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my deck of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So for your key to the week this week, you have the Moon card. So the Moon card, the Chariot, both been very active. Kind of makes sense because they're both linked to Cancer, and obviously the Moon is a big player in this week's story because we have a new moon, a solar eclipse. This is a big deal for all of us, and I will be going into it, just not in this video. With that said, your Moon card, so the Moon can be, it's not an easy card, right? And it can be somewhat nebulous. Sometimes it can talk about the past, coming up to derail us. Sometimes it's for us to notice or to see where we are being triggered unconsciously. This could also be the realization of a dream. And so what I mean by that is something that you have maybe wanted to happen, or something that some of you, touch wood, have feared happening. There's a feeling around this card for me this week that almost suggests like you're in the space where something, like this is the moment, this is the reckoning, this is where something is actually happening, it's taking place, and it's like that moment where you've trained and you've trained and you've trained, it's showtime, right? The curtain comes up, it's time to do your thing. It's where you've hyped it up and you've got that court case coming, and it's like, you're psyching yourself up, and now it's here. This Moon card feels for me, it's like, I said to Leo, this was in a sense some sort of like a veil dropping. And I kind of feel like it's similar to you. It's like that thing that you have either wanted to happen, anticipated happening, or been psyching yourself up for. There's no more waiting. This is the moment. It's either going to happen or it's not going to happen. And I kind of get the feeling that a lot of you are going to be at this moment and it's like, okay, this is what it's all been about. All those moments where I wasn't sure where things were going. Nearly give me a heart attack. All those moments of that was my door opening, where I wasn't sure of what was happening or where I was going. Now I can be sure. This is that moment where the final curtain call is here, right? This is that moment where you're going to see all of it as it is. With that said, if you are a continued subby, Rafi loves you. If you're new to my channel, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and it resonates, hit the subscribe button for your actions and options this week. You have the Eight of Swords. Okay, so you've got this with the Moon. This, in a lot of ways, I think this is actually highlighting where you have put yourself in some sort of self-imposed prison. I feel like this is a week where your own impossible standards are going to get the better of you, in the sense that maybe something happens or you look at something and you think, you know what, who would actually be able to do that with, it's like maybe you're expecting yourself to, I don't know, be able to buy your partner a Rolls Royce, but by the end of the year. And it's like, why are you putting unnecessary pressure on yourself for something that is totally unrealistic for either the means that you have or the time frame that you've given? And this kind of feels for me like this need or this drive towards perfection is falling away from you this week. It's like you spot yourself in a moment of self-deprecation and you're like, well, yeah, the reason I haven't been able to do that is because it's impossible with the tools that I have to hand or the time that I have available. It kind of feels like you're having a moment where you're going to look at yourself and you're going to be like, you've been a bit silly, haven't you? Yeah, you've been a bit hard on yourself. If we're Capricorns. I jest. All jokes aside, I really feel like that's what's falling away here. You're going to see something this week exactly as it is, and you're going to say, you know what, self, we need to be more realistic and we actually need to be nicer to each other. Let that go. For your communications and conversations, you have the Magician card, and you've got this underneath the Moon. Your communications this week, you will be communicating very clearly. And some of the stuff that comes up this week in conversation will be things that people have tried to talk to you about before, but you just wouldn't hear it. And maybe you couldn't hear it because this curtain, this veil was up. What I like about this for you is this realization that you're having this week. It might really humanize you to yourself and bring you down a few levels. And I don't mean that in a bad way, I actually mean it in the best way. And because you've got this Magician card here, it's like you have conversations with people and you're like, yeah, wow, either this sounds familiar or you can take it on board without really getting uptight or tense about it. And they're like, well, I actually did try to talk to you about this previously, but you just weren't in the space to hear it then, whereas you are now. The lines of communication are really opening this week, and I actually think this could be very beneficial for your life in general. For those of you that are studying or in some form of academia, this week, this is going to be one of those weeks where knowing and realizing that somebody else knows best, it might be a little bit uncomfortable, but it's actually going to be great for you, because what it does is it gives you this moment where you can step back and say, actually, you know what? I'm still just a student and this is okay. The true master is the person that realizes that they're always going to be a student in some way, shape or form. For those of you that are employed by somebody else, this could be a really wonderful time to reapproach a boss about an offer or an opportunity to step up, a pay rise, etc. Something that you've tried to do before, you can now have much better results with. For those of you that are business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, people that work for themselves, same kind of energy. Something that you've tried to do previously that wasn't happening this time round gets the light of day. It gets to be seen, and this time you can take it all the way home. If there is a big client that you've tried to land but you couldn't quite close the deal, this week you have that potential, you have that opportunity. For those of you that are retired and no longer working, I like this because it suggests that, like, this week, whatever your realizations are, you're not afraid to share them. Like this, one thing that I have noticed about Capricorns, when they're truly into the work that they needed to do on themselves, and everyone has work that they need to do on themselves, they actually get to a place where they can be really funny and they can be really like they can laugh at themselves really, really well. And I kind of feel like this is giving you back that. And it's such an important place to be. My brothers and sisters actually taught me that. I was a very uptight little person for various reasons. I had a lot to carry. And they all had this ability to, poke fun at each other and laugh at each other without it sort of being so personal. And I really envied that for a long time. And then when I got it, I was just like, yeah, okay, this is cool. So yeah, it's one of the things that I will forever love them for, all of them. For your love and relations, you have the Fool card. If you are single, you could be meeting someone this week. If you're single, you could be meeting somebody that is maybe in a position of power, maybe somebody that has done very well for themselves after having come through a very tough time of it. So this has been coming up a lot recently for various different signs, and I wonder if this is because you're to connect with one of them. This person obviously has a bit of a past about them, but they've turned their lives around. We can't hold... This is one of the reasons that I'm... this whole cancel culture and all the rest of it. Like, I get it, sometimes it has its place, but it's like ridiculous. If somebody's done their best to change who they are, to become a better person than who they were when they were younger, how fucking dare anybody try to hold them accountable to something that they did when they were 20, when this person's now 42 and really trying to do something good with their lives and has actually turned it all around. Like, fuck that. I haven't got time for it. I really haven't. Allow people to grow, because otherwise that means that we should all just be, the school kids in the playground chucking stones and mud at each other, and it's fucking ridiculous. ridiculous, quite frankly. Excuse the F-bombs, but I'm quite passionate about this subject because it's like, shift your point of reference. Yes, this person was that way when they were younger. They're somebody completely different, especially at like, you know, when there's 20 years between the two people that you're talking about. None of us are who we were bloody last week, you know, especially with the last 2 years that's happened. Everybody has changed. You know, everybody's softer or, you know, maybe a little bit crazier in some way. Right, there you go. But yeah, anyway, I will say that if you're meeting someone new, this person now has done very well for themselves, but they may have a past about them. It may be that you have a past about you, and it's hard for you to reveal that to them because you don't want to be judged. I don't think you will be. For those of you that are partnered, married, or in long-term commitments, the relationship turns a corner the second that this veil drops. And I think this could be absolutely marvelous for you. For your money and materials, you've got the Justice card. That's a new commitment coming in to do with your work and your profession. But a lot of you are now rededicating yourselves to both physical health appearance goals and also monetary financial goals. There's some big shift that's taking place here for a lot of you. When it comes to your physical health and vitality, this is your kidneys and your waterworks. Look after yourself there. Again, not a doctor, can't give you medical advice, but the Justice card rules the kidneys and the urinary system. So, you know, watch out for that, especially with the moon, because the moon can be hormonal. It can also be the waters of the body. So watch out for that. And then for your home and environment, the Justice card, it looks like some of you are dedicated to buying a home. If that is the case and you're in a strong position to do so now, and you know that nothing's going to change, then I urge you to go ahead. If you are doing this at a hop, skip and a jump, I would wait until probably the first quarter of 2023 is over, and I will say no more. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, and I'll see you soon.